A sister. That's somebody who should look out for you. Get your back, right? Well, guess what? This is not only my sister, she's my twin sister. And when I tell you she hates my guts, that's not an understatement. But she did something that I'm about to share with you that I simply cannot forgive her for. So I decide to ruin her biggest day of her life. Her wedding. Oh yeah, and then I steal her man. So this is one of those times when my twin hates me to the point she did not invite me to her wedding. Why? Because I don't look so good. I've never talked to anybody in detail about our relationship because I just found it too embarrassing. I'm going to try to keep a really long story kind of condensed as best that I can. I guess to start, I'll explain my childhood. My sister Emily and I are twin sisters, identical. We've always been very different though. We have the same hair, face, height, and skin color. But I'll tell you, my similarities stop right then and there. There's no other way to say it. I'm not hot, or even pretty by most people's standards, but Emily just always managed her looks and weight way better than me. And the differences don't stop there. I'm what people would call an introvert, while my sister is outgoing. We're as close as twins can be, but my mom and dad refuse to treat or let anyone treat us as the same person, and we are just never really glued to each other's hip. She was very boisterous and energetic. I mean, she talked first, and I walked first. She was always the speaker for us. She has her group of friends, and she is always just really into dating, and I'm not. People believed I'm the one who just stays in her dorm all day, and she's the one out having the best of life. And she'll lie when hanging out with mutual friends, saying that I couldn't go because I'm sick. When, in reality, I had no idea they were even in town. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention they seem to like her more than me for some reason. Maybe it's because she's much more outgoing and talkative than me, but really, that's just who I am. But of course, she tells me that all the time, that I need to be more like her if I want to have more friends. I was always really isolated. Most of my talking, it was over in 2 minutes or less. One-word answers was just good monologue for me. And I was self-conscious too, as I've had this huge birthmark on my face along with a lot of pimples. When I was in high school, I wanted to keep my head down, get my work done, do it well, and only need to talk to who I absolutely had to. Emily was the polar opposite. She joined every team that she could and never got a grade higher than a B, outside of gym. And seriously, just could talk for hours. She could easily burn through the minutes on her phone in a day, and our parents would have to hide the house phone from her because she'd just sit there and talk literally all day long. This is probably too much information, I'm sorry, but hey, I'm a virgin and never had a boyfriend, and Emily considers this one factor in her hatred towards me. We grew up close, but over the years, she took a different path and we just became distant. My parents have always favored her, and that's another reason our relationship is not as strong. I should mention that my family's pretty affluent. Ever since I remember myself, my parents encouraged me and Emily just to compete with each other, while they always favored her over me. She always had their support, and I was expected to just compete. Well, I was also expected to be considerate. I spent my entire life trying to prove myself to them, but when I succeed in something more than she does, they just ask me to give it up. But they never ask this from her. I do love her, and my parents, even though I feel like I've been treated unfairly. Unlike me, she feels like our relationship is a competition and she has to win. She always is trying to one-up me, bragging that she has better grades, more work experience, more friends, telling me what to do with my life because apparently she somehow has all the answers. Side note, she isn't even giving me advice because she wants to. It's so that she can feel better about herself and reassure herself that at least she's more accomplished than me, her sister. We endured abuse together as a child, and as a result of this trauma, while I took other equally damaging paths, growing up she became the antagonistic twin. and took away a lot of the little peace I had in my school years. Like, she would criticize me, tell me I'm ugly, sheltered, ghetto, and stupid, and just treat me less than her. So when I confront her about it, I'm told that I'm just being a victim complex, and claim that I bring her down by just existing. Everybody wants a twin, right? Everyone. But they don't know what it's really like. I feel so robbed of the twin experience because all of this bullcrap I have to deal with. I never had a normal life. Before this wedding issue that I made the whole post about, I never hated her. Hate is such a strong word. I thought Emily was just kind of bossy, sure, but I also really loved her. But hey, it's contentious. She was one of the few people I felt comfortable even talking to, and we had a really good time together. You could say even when she hated me, I did not hate her at all. There weren't enough good friends in my life for me to afford to hate her, and there still aren't any. I can't describe it, I'm highly ambivalent. I was devastated when she did not invite me to her wedding, though. Last year, my father told me Emily was getting married, and I was overjoyed. I knew her fiancé, and he was really nice. I was super excited to go dress shopping since I thought I would be invited too. I was saving up for that because I wanted to attend since she is my only sibling, and this is most likely a once-in-a-lifetime event. The wedding, it was supposed to take place in northern Germany, Hamburg. Then I saw on Facebook they had moved the wedding to December in Italy. Again, it was changed back to the same city that we live in. When my mother booked the ticket to go, I realized I wasn't invited since she only booked 2. My dad even warned me after they got engaged that I probably would not be invited and not to get my hopes up, but I didn't think Emily actually would not invite me. What hurt the most, though, is that she never told me that I wasn't invited. No text, no letter, no talking, nothing. She never tried to talk to me about it, and when I saw her at family gatherings, she only made small chit-chat with me, as if nothing even happened. My parents obviously know they will be attending, but have not said a single word about it to me. Okay, it's not their wedding, so yeah, I kinda get it. They did not even pretend they want to include me, though. I'd been okay with a reason like, hey, unfortunately, we cannot pay for your trip and hotel. If you don't have the funds to come, we understand, and we'll be happy to see you at whatever other time. Or something along those lines. I never expected them to pay for me, but to exclude me completely from the actual wedding just seems like a low blow. Ever since then, I kinda detached myself from her and did not go over to her place with my dad or anything. After a couple of weeks, I completely stopped talking to her because I noticed that my mental health was suffering, and I decided to do what was best for me, which is going no contact and avoiding her at family gatherings or not going altogether. It was 2 weeks before her wedding, and my dad asked me to maybe talk it out with her. He doesn't want to pressure me to do anything, but he says that family is important, and that he would like it if we got along. He also told me he never knew she never told me I wasn't invited, that she told him she had talked to me. He understands I'm upset and he doesn't want to get involved. He just told me how he felt. When I talked, I was told I was not invited, but I could attend a big celebration sometime next year, when they would invite the rest of the family and friends who couldn't make it to the wedding. She said the plan was changed by her fiancé and that the wedding would be, quote, parents only, as he just didn't want too many people to be there. Well, I was upset. I let it go because it was my sister and I just wanted her to be happy. I found out it wasn't just parents, though. She literally had every single relationship invited. Even her best friend from college, by the way. And I know it's her best friend, so why would not she be there? But why wouldn't I be there? It just didn't make sense. Why could I not see her in her dress? I don't know why my sister chose to do it this way, but all of them being invited felt like an absolute slap across the face. She wanted me to miss something so important in her life, but Because of what? Why? Being snub like this is so hurtful. I didn't want to hear through the grapevine or social media that I wasn't only not the maid of honor, but not in the wedding reception at all. I confronted her, and she said she thought that the venue is not friendly and comfortable for me, and that's why she did not invite me. If that's the only reason, isn't that something I should decide? Maybe I can handle myself in the venue, you know. I told her, hey, I'm not buying it, and she finally admitted that she thought about it a lot and decided that she didn't want an ugly copy of herself to ruin her perfect day. Wow. And that she just wanted one day when we weren't standing together being compared. My parents told me that I need to understand and respect it, that it is her wedding and she gets to decide who comes, and I can't be upset and I should just respect her decision. Yeah, it is her decision, but that doesn't mean it's deserving of respect or silence. I told them that if she thinks I'm not good enough to be at her wedding, then I don't want her or to even see her again. But they tell me that I should continue to be a good sister and just respect her and be friendly with her. Well, I don't understand why. Why is it okay for my twin to be a terrible sister to me, but I'm the one that has to be a good sister? She set the tone for our relationship now, which is that we basically do not have a relationship at all. Her action has consequences. I tell them, since Emily chose not to invite me to her wedding, and you guys are choosing to go without me and not even stick up for me as a member of your family, well then, you should expect the consequences of those decisions. It's my relationship when both Emily and you will suffer. So one cousin then asked her why I wasn't invited. She stated that she did not think it was worth the money to have me at her wedding. I'm not saying anyone needs to invite anyone that they don't want there, but again, it just sickens me to think that I put my life on hold to be her emotional dumping grounds. And, well, I don't know, she just couldn't do anything for me? And now I'm the cause of my whole family trying to figure out what to do and who to side with. The whole situation makes me absolutely sick to my stomach. I likely would not have gone even if I had been invited due to her not speaking to me for so long. But the fact that she's going around telling people that I'm ugly, I won't lie, I was upset. I was. I hate feeling excluded, and it was doubly worse because everyone else in the family was going except for me. And honestly, I really like weddings. They're usually very fun. I kept it to myself, but I wasn't happy. So I got a copy of the wedding guest list and emailed whoever I could that I wasn't invited to the wedding, with the real reason why. So, on the wedding day, Sheila, she's like a grandma to me, called me and said that people were confused as to where I was. Apparently, Emily said I was sick and simply could not make it. I was mad at that point, so I got into my car and headed to the hall. Some friends and family told me they were so happy I came, and it would not have been the same without me. Emily did not kick off, but she gave me dirty looks the whole time, and I could see her whispering to people, who would then also give me dirty looks back. She then blew up at me for, quote, undermining her and ruining her wedding. Nothing happened. She just did not enjoy it because she spent it feeling angry. I know, it's crappy to crash a wedding, but I felt like I had a right to be there and just let everyone know what kind of person Emily really is. Something sparked inside of me, and I just quickly raised myself out of my seat and walked up to her and loudly demanded, in front of everybody, she explains why I was not invited. She said I was disturbing the wedding over nothing and that I should not make such a big deal about something. Well, she and our parents tried to get me to quiet down a bit, but it was too late because there's people now standing up watching us argue. They tried to get me to sit down too, but I told my sister that she is and will always be my family, and she not only disrespected me by excluding me, but seriously disrespected our relationship as well just because she has, well, Says I'm not as good looking as her. She got angry and starts yelling at this point. She said things like, I have a whole wedding waiting for me back there. Why do you think you're to come here and waste my time? And some very awful slurs, which I won't add. Her groom-to-be, Alaric, he called the wedding off after hearing all that she had said to me, and at that moment he decided she was not the kind of girl he wants to spend the rest of his life with. He told her in front of everybody that he felt it was extremely important for him to know with certainty that he will not end up with a cruel, heartless woman, and he just said this, I just couldn't get in good faith or go forward with the marriage with my new understanding of who you really are. Well, I left after that. I called an Uber and I went straight home. My parents berated me later about making a scene at my sister's wedding and ruining everything that she worked for. Emily was sobbing in my father's arms, and I could not help but start to cry, because I turned all my family against me by ruining my sister's wedding. That same night, Alaric came over to my place, and we ended up talking about it. He came up to me and asked if I was okay, and we ended up chit-chatting for hours, and we became close friends. I talked with him about several topics which we had in common, like anime, which we're both very huge fans of, and I thought he was really cool. I don't talk about my sister with him, and he would not ask about her. It's just like we're friends, normal friends. He used to play video games when he was over at the house, went to the movies, and took me to baseball games with his friends. He came to most of my chess matches just to support me. He'd talk about me, about stuff, and just listen. It was cool to have a guy to talk to about how I've suffered because of my sister and parents. Well, about 5 months after this, one thing led to another, and he suddenly asked if I'd ever thought about the idea of me and him being together, because of how much sense it would make based on our personalities clicking. He emphasized beforehand that it means nothing, and he didn't want me to take it the wrong way. But there had been many other moments where I've questioned him hinting at something between the two of us, and oh boy, I was right. I went fishing with him and a few of our buddies yesterday, and Emily saw me tagged in a few photos with her ex. She called me and was absolutely infuriated that I would go ahead and hang out with her fiancé. She said she doesn't want to see any trace of him anymore, and I just told her she's being ridiculous, that he's my friend now, and our friendship has nothing to do with her. Especially because he's not her fiancé anymore, so I asked her, "Did you really forget he called off the engagement?" She told me to consider her feelings too and hung up the phone. Well, then I received a text from Alaric, who wished me good luck before my chess tournament in August, and it meant a lot because no one in my house even seemed to care. I confessed. I love him. He told me that I was all he could think about day and night, and then we decided to dating. I decided to tell my family, and obviously they were mad, which I didn't care. My mom said she already knew what was going on and called me a terrible sister for betraying and treating Emily like that. I contemplated breaking up with them, but I decided against it. And now, well, 1 year later, we're slowly planning to get married in 9 weeks. I know this is right, but somehow it feels like I'm ruining Emily's life indirectly. Update number 1. Hey guys, I wrote this post just to get it off my chest, a little rant. I did not expect anyone to see or care. I want to thank you for the responses, especially for the wedding invites. You see, I saw a lot of comments speculating I might be an affair child, and that's why Emily is so offended by my existence. I'm not. Disregarding the fact that my parents would never cheat, they met through mutual friends, and said friends are still friends in their life, and have told me how they met 100 times. Well, First of all, I haven't spoken to my parents yet about the wedding, and I'm going to see them tomorrow and just intend to speak to them about it. But I'm also planning on reaching out to my sister myself and seeing her one-on-one, maybe in the upcoming week or so, just to talk, not to invite her to my wedding, but simply to see what she has to say since we haven't had a little sit-down proper conversation in over a year. I just have not been up to it talking to her. Still, I do feel guilty. When I and Alaric started hooking up, and it did not help that my parents were totally against it when they found out as well. They're worried about my sister's reaction, but to be honest, I wasn't even sure at that point if this would evolve into a serious relationship. She'll be jealous of me, upset that Alaric picked me over her, and sad about the end of their relationship. She's had a very serious relationship with Alaric for 3 years. Maybe we can even come to an understanding about why I chose to be with Alaric and how it doesn't have to be a competition between us. It's not about one of us being better than the other. It's just about finding the person who makes us happy. And that's what Alaric does for me. You see, I hope Emily can come to see that, even if it does take some time. Last night I was scrolling through my phone and Emily posted an Instagram story with the quote about, and I quote, "Another woman stealing your man." She must have been embarrassed in front of all the guests, cause I didn't think she would be posting something like that for all our friends and family to see. I've only had one real friend that lives on the other side of the country, so the only person that's ever been there for me is my sister. I don't want her to hate me forever. I'm stuck between, what have I done, am I awful, and should I just end it? Or, why can't she consider how we're happy together, and I just want to be in love too? I'll definitely invite both my sister and my parents to my wedding, no matter what they've done to me. Update number 2. Hey everyone, sorry it took some time, but I'm here with an update. I had some problems publishing it, but hey, it's all good now. Me and Alaric did speak to my parents. They're very disappointed with me getting married to Emily's ex. They told me to choose either I or choose family or my fiancé. I told them my fiancé is not going anywhere, and he's going to be family now. They couldn't accept it, so I'm never seeing them again. No contact. My fiancé and I sat down with them to discuss how while I wanted them to be a part of this special moment of my life, I could not abide by their criticism and clear disgust with our intentions to get married. The conversation went nowhere and ended with my mother crying and my fiancé arguing with both my parents until I simply could not take it anymore. And we left. After that, my family seemed to calm down a bit, and I asked my mother if she'd be willing to put together a list of addresses for my more distant relatives for the invitations to try to include her. She agreed. A couple days later, she gives me a call. She says she's made the list of addresses, but that she'll not give them to me unless I come by their home and have a private conversation without my fiancé around about my decision-making. I knew immediately, right then and there, that this was meant that they are going to gang up on me, try to attack and coerce me into not getting married to him. I attempted to compromise with her and said that I would be willing to talk to them in private, but with my fiancé in another room nearby for emotional support if things got a bit too heated. My mother starts freaking out when I mention that. She said that I was afraid to talk to them one-on-one and that she would not speak to me and my fiancé was there ever. She then tried to convince me to have a therapy session with herself and my father to get past my, quote, fears. I just found this completely and utterly ridiculous and flat out refused. We haven't spoken since, and I love my family, but I'm not sure what to do here. I'm not sure how I can include my family in my wedding and my future life when their only goal seems to prevent me from getting married in the first place. I ended up talking to them in private. I told my father that I really wanted you just to walk me down the aisle, and for you to celebrate this with us. Emily called me every single possible name you could think of. Fat, shapeless person who doesn't deserve Alaric, and even said I was dead to her. I didn't even have a chance to explain. I'm not welcome at my parents' place when I come home for the holidays because Emily just made it crystal clear she doesn't want me in her life anymore. In fact, our whole family sided with her. Update number 3. Thanks guys for reading and helping me. I appreciate it. Sorry I could not answer all of you that sent me a private message. After what happened in the last conversation, Alaric made it a mission of his to make Emily realize how I'm better looking than her. He told that Emily sent her an old picture of me and he showed it to me. The picture was just incredibly unflattering and embarrassing at the angle of the picture. It just made me look very unpleasant. But Alaric told me that no matter how much Emily tries to ruin our relationship, she's going to fail over and over again. At that moment, I realized how much I really love Alaric. As I mentioned in the main post, I've always been a bit chubby, and she's always been super skinny. I'm not a model, but I do have a belly and love handles. Mainly because I used food as an escape when I became abused. She has a very high metabolism, but she'll say, it's because I eat healthy and exercise. Even though I see her on Snapchat getting fast food every single day, and not to mention, she supersizes it. Once I was making tacos for our mom's birthday, and my sister came up and whispered in my ear, I can see your birthmark. She'll just come up to me just to pinch my belly fat and say that I look pregnant. She told me I need to lose weight because it concerns her, which means I embarrassed her because I'm fat. Alaric knows all that she did to me, but, well, we worked hard together and I lost weight in stages. Lost a lot at first, then stopped trying, but I maintained it. Then I lost a bit more, maintained it, and most recently I've lost 30 pounds to finally reach and exceed my goal. Well, mostly via Zumba. Only in the past month I've started to realize how good looking I've become. And wow, it's weird. My body's gone from normal, nerdy girl look, to something I can't even describe as a half-finished Greek goddess. My figure's literally transforming between my eyes, and Alaric even got me an eye lens and made me throw away my glasses. I've become increasingly attractive. I've lost fat, my facial skin is healthier, and I've done laser removal on my birthmark. After regarding the wedding, we got to a point where we had also saved enough to move forward with the plans. So, we set a date. It's going to be a few months out and sent out a save-the-date invitation. Got the addresses myself with the help of a relative. My first love is lovelier than I could have ever hoped for, but all I can think about is my wedding. Everyone will turn around expecting to see a bride and her father. And it's going to be just me, alone, without anyone to stand up next to her. Father to the bride speeches have always been one of my favorite elements of weddings, and nobody will speak for me. Update number 4. This is the final update by OP. Hey guys. I guess you can imagine and call the update for the update that it is. I just felt like I wanted to let you know how the wedding went down. It was kind of perfect. That's why this will be the last update. My sister, she did come to the wedding, with off-the-shoulder draped sleeves, illusion cleavage, and a sweetheart neckline, bridal white heels with right rhinestones, and a thigh-high slit up the front. She was trying to upstage me because she never had a wedding since the last time Emily saw me. I've lost a lot more weight. I've gotten very fit and completely turned my life around. She, on the other hand, appears to have completely changed too, but not in a positive way. When we separated, she looked like a model. Now she has these dark circles under her eyes. She's lost her shape.
And the second she saw me, she was obviously shocked, but she was like, well, 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 look who's suddenly the Miss Glow-Up. I told her, hey, I'm still the same person, I have the same smile, the same sense of humor, the same interest, and the same conversations, except one thing. She doesn't get to call me ugly anymore. She then tells me that she almost did not recognize me without all the extra weight and frumpy clothing. That's how she remembers me, huh? Fat, ugly, unhappy. I didn't even reply. I've moved on, and my eyes are on my future now, not my past. I felt powerful for the first time in my life. Alaric asked me to tell her to change her outfit, so I told her we would close the slit with a little binder clip, and she would also wear a shawl for the pictures and ceremony, but afterward, at the reception, yeah, she can take off those binder clips and shawls. She became quite livid and told me I was being unreasonable and that the only reason I wanted her to cover up was so I, quote, would not have competition. Now it was the time before the vows. I decided to walk down the aisle by myself. But Alaric came down from the front and met me halfway, and we walked down the rest of the aisle together. This is the sweetest thing that's ever happened in my entire life. It gave me chills when he did it. We then exchanged our vows. After the wedding, everybody was talking about how I was so beautiful. Way more beautiful than Emily. I also heard people calling me and Alaric the perfect little couple. One of my uncles called me and Emily and made us stand side by side, and he was like, I can't believe how much you've transformed since the last time I've seen you. Hearing all this, my sister's face was full of frustration. I felt a little bit pleasure with how things turned out, I'm not gonna lie. I bet she is now regretting accepting my invitation and probably has gone crying in front of my parents again, but I don't care. I'm totally done with her and anyone who has ever seen her as the golden child. There's a lot more that went on, but hey, that's the gist of it.
So I'll just go ahead and say it. I think the best person in this story was Alaric. I mean, Alaric saw through the evilness that his soon-to-be fiancé was. And yeah, some people in the comment section were saying Alaric is a dog. And why is he a dog? Based on some comments, it's because he flip-flopped and went for the same sister to another sister. But at the same time, I think Alaric saw OP for who she is. A kind, respectful, and beautiful woman. And he didn't care if maybe she was chubby or whatever word she specifically used. He loved her. And he saw the vile toxicness that was her sister, and he just didn't want to be a part of it. So no, I don't blame Alaric, and I think he was actually a very good human. But hey, if we don't have the same opinion, that's totally cool. Drop your opinion down below and let's discuss it in the comment section. Guys, that's going to bring a wrap to this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I do have some exciting announcement to make. There is a gigantic mother-in-law saga coming up. It's one you're not going to want to miss. It's the biggest update of this channel, meaning it has 9 updates, and I've covered every single aspect of this story. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on that. It'll be about a week, maybe 2, but it's coming. So guys, I'll see you in the next one. Have a fantastic day. I'll see ya.